all the oxides start falling off the falling off the tape. So I clean the heads every night and put new tape in, and off we'd go. And
Yeah.
man, I'll tell you that rig ran with me like at least 5 nights a week for about three
Oh,
years.
Mm. The,
It was great, a lot of
so
fun.
what year was that?
77,
Yeah, so it's just
76, 76, 77, and 78.
yeah.
Okay.
Space Echoes came out in 77. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
201 came out in 70.
God, you remember that? I'm amazed.
Yeah.
There's
I
so
bought
much
one
that I
of
don't
the.
remember.
Yeah, he's the human mic stand. How could he forget? Really, this guy is amazing. You should have seen him. I think he was on TV. I think I saw this guy
Yeah, I
running
was.
around in between the raindrops. He was like, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
That
was a horrible game. That was. Well, no, it was a good game. I mean, it turned out, but the first quarter was. I thought I was up there where Kurt is because it rained buckets. And,
buckets of rain. It doesn't rain in Seattle. What are you talking about? Oh, it's sunny.
No, well, I thought it normally doesn't rain like this in Tampa either. This was monsoon type rain.
Now, how do you protect your equipment? How do you protect the microphone? Well, by the way, before you answer that, let me just welcome everybody to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. This is our 240th, get together, consecutive. Haven't missed one. Hear that, Scoville? We haven't missed one.
Oh, you're gonna get spanked for that.
I hope so. Haven't been spanked in a while. Let me call my wife in here. It's. But anyway, we've got a dignitary in the room. Mr. Brian Scott is with us all the way from North Carolina, and I see he shaved for the occasion. Unbelievable!
It hasn't been that long. That beard's been gone a year.
Oh my God, it's been a long time. But anyway, yeah. So remember, everything you hear today is opinion, and let's just. Now, to go back to what Greg was saying, if anyone could remember that far back, about 30 seconds ago, what we were talking about, now would be the time to remind us.
So, Jan, I have a question. If I was going to put a picture of my console from the 70s up on someplace where you guys could see it, how would I do that?
You can't.
You would click share your screen.
Oh, really?
I've tried 100 times. You're not allowed.
What do you mean? No, I don't have it disabled.
Yep.
Go ahead and try it. Won't be able to do it. I've tried 100 times. I've never
Try to post a picture.
Try it now. Try it now. See what happens.
What do I do?
Well, let Kurt do it first. What he's got something to share. Share something, Kurt. Share your Thanksgiving, your New Year's Day meal. That's always something special.
It's not.
And while you're doing that, I just want to comment on something. Wayne, while I was away, I was still listening, and you mentioned something about when you started, it was a point source system. Do you remember saying that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, Kurt's company happens to be called Point Source.
Oh, really?
Am I right?
Yeah, we named it right before line arrays became the big thing.
Yeah, but still, that's a cool name, though.
And actually, my original partner came up with the name and the logo. So I've been stuck with the name and the logo ever since then, and he hasn't been around in decades.
You know what they say, a rose would sell just as sweet by any other name, So you can call your company now Line Array. Line Array, there you go.
Still use a lot of point source stuff.
Yeah, so I got to show you my logo on my business card because I did this before line arrays came out too. Let's see, what's the best way to do this?
Oh wow! Well, it's hard when you got that artificial background on. So
see the array.
There you go.
Very good.
Yeah, and that was I did that before line arrays, and I thought to myself, "Oh, that's cool. How did I know that?"
How did you know that?
I don't know. It's just the magic of more bass.
Well, Bruce,
so what's this year going to be like for you guys? This is New Year's. Excuse me. I had, no good deed goes unpunished. I had a friend stay with me, and of course, he gave us a cold. So, but having said that, let me say this. It's New Year's. It's New Year's Day. You guys could be watching football, by the way, which is the number one by huge amounts of margins of what people are watching TV for right now. It's basically, that's the number. I think 75% of all TV now and revenues is from sports, and most of it from the NFL.
So, Jan, the Sugar Bowl.
There you go.
Whoa,
Now, what are we looking at?
Whoa, it came up. That's great.
Yum. What is that?
That's
It's
last
just-
night's New Year's
Last night's
Eve
dinner. Looks good.
Is that Brussels sprouts I see?
Yeah,
Brussels
with a bacon jam on top of a bed of cheddar sauce.
Oh my
Mm.
God, it looks great.
Unbelievable.
Homemade herb butter, sauteed onions and
Mm.
mushrooms on a New York, and then a twice baked potato and a jalapeno popper.
I never quite understood the twice baked thing, but okay.
Well, if getting
Well,
baked once is good, getting baked twice
they
is
take it
better.
out and you put the mashed potatoes in the center and then you put it back in and bake it a little longer, right? Isn't that the
Well, yeah, but you mix it up and you put sour cream and other stuff in it.
and then
So
it goes back
like
in
a-
to bake some more, right?
it's like a mashed potato, and then you put it back in there.
Oh,
So
I
it's
love
like-
jalapeno poppers. Those are great.
Have you ever tried putting in parsnips in your mashed potatoes, Kurt?
I have not.
Try it. You won't believe. You got to rice them in. Okay. But yeah,
Yeah, that's the key to mashed potatoes too, is you use a ricer.
yeah, a good ricer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's all
so
different in the world.
how'd you get that picture in there?
It never worked before, but apparently it works now. You just go down on the
Yeah,
bottom.
all you got to do is click the button, the green button with the arrow up on the bottom of your screen that says
It's
share.
Share. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
you have to make sure the image you want to share is already on a screen.
Well, it's on the desktop. It's not open.
Well, then you get a
Open it.
choice. It'll give you a choice of what screen you want to share.
Yeah, but go away from this screen and navigate to the other one, and then open the picture.
All right, the picture's open.
Okay, now go back to the screen that we're all on here and do the share, and you should see that picture open on one of the screens.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
And then you share that screen.
Let me reverse that because I had. Okay, so oh, is it then? Okay.
But don't have your checking account number there too or something.
No. It says desktop 1, but there's nothing there.
Well, then it must be desktop 2.
No,
well, desktop?
There's no. Well, it says desktop 2. It says preview unknown, message unknown, a bunch of other stuff, but it's not. The picture's not on there.
Okay, so you put this. So the picture has to be up. So open the picture from your whatever your browser is, or
Right.
whatever.
It's a JPG. It's a JPEG, and it
Just
is
open it up.
Open it.
Should
You have
be
to
open
open
on
it.
your
Open it.
screen.
You got to open it first. Open the picture first.
You mean it's open? I can see it, but do you have to make it like full screen?
Is
Yeah.
it open, or is it just, or are you just highlighting it in your Finder?
No,
Click it
it's
so
open.
it's open.
It's open.
Okay, now click the share button, and you will see an option to share that picture.
Yeah, no, it's not.
For those people listening at home and not watching,
Oh, at the
this
top,
is very exciting.
at the
All right.
top, there's three things. Say screens, documents, advanced. Make sure
Right.
screens is clicked on.
Right, it says screens.
And you don't see you should have everything you've got open on any of your screens. Like I can see my mail inbox and I can see my QuickBooks and all.
Yeah,
the
no, I don't
calendar.
see anything. It has an exclamation point.
Are you alive?
Okay, hold the up shift button to select 2 desktops.
Okay, no, if you're seeing that, you see that right underneath that, you should see entire screen, desktop 1, desktop 2.
Right, I don't see there's no entire screen. There's just desktop 1, desktop 2.
Okay, when you're opening it up, are you seeing the images of us? You hit the share and you're seeing the images of us?
No, I see you guys, but it's on my Zoom screen.
Okay, but
Okay.
click on the one with us and see if that doesn't put it up behind. At least I know that's how Teams does it.
Okay, on the bottom right-hand corner, do you see a button that says layouts and options?
Yeah, hold on. I think I'm getting someplace here. Hold on one second.
All right, we're getting close. This picture better be worth it.
Oh,
All right.
it's cool. It's just console,
I had a Kelsey. 24.
Well, while he's working on that,
Did you have the one with the wood sides? It was the 4x2 or whatever that was?
Yeah, I think so. It's a 24 fork Kelsey Club series or something.
Yes, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
nice little console.
Spring reverb in it.
It didn't have anything in it. I had to use my external spring.
Kelsey became Crest eventually.
Did it really?
Yep.
Oh.
So Jan, you were talking about football.
yes.
Did you hear the Sugar Bowl got delayed 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, because of what happened
Yeah.
Yeah.
in New Orleans?
Yeah, New Orleans. And then they had viable threats for the Superdome. So that was the reason that they canceled it, so they had to sweep the Superdome. So
This is going to be a strange year. You could be sure of that. This is going to be a very strange year
Did
in
It is.
2025.
Did they catch the guy?
They shot
No.
him. Yeah. He got
shot and killed him.
Oh,
shot, killed him.
Oh, is that the New Orleans guy? Did they get
Yeah.
him?
Yeah. And then
That's sad.
They had a Trump explosion. I'm sorry, a
Cybertruck.
A Tesla truck explode in the Trump Plaza in Las Vegas this morning.
Yeah. And they rented it from the same car company
Yeah.
that the guy it was Turo, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
Turo.
so that's like Airbnb of car rentals.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but they're saying on the thing in Las Vegas, at least when they saw on the news, that the trunk was full of fireworks and gasoline in Las Vegas.
Oh, strange.
So you have a whole bunch, having gasoline and fireworks in an enclosed, the back of a Cybertruck. Isn't that black or is that silver?
No, it's all colors. It depends what it is. But I thought the truck was on fire. How were they able to put it out before the gasoline went up?
It exploded.
It exploded, and they said it exploded in a section that wasn't the battery. So they're treating this now as a terrorist act as well.
Well, like I said, it's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be a strange year. There's going to be a lot of things going on because there's a lot of people that are really uncomfortable and what's going on in the world. And it's not just America. It's basically a lot of different countries right now are having a lot of excitement because of, what's going on in the world and the politics. But this is not that. We don't usually talk about politics here, and I'd like to keep it that way because we have other, it basically whatever it is. I wish, believe it or not, and I'm going to say this for the public, I wish this new administration the best of luck and hope that it really delivers on the things that people voted for. I don't believe it's going to happen, but I would hope that it would, So I think that, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. And instant karma is the other thing that I'm thinking. But already I'm seeing so many people, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. I mean, one of the things that really stuck in my mind right now, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but the plane crash in Korea. Now, in America, they only showed the plane going down the runway without its wheels, and then they cut away to whatever. Here in Thailand, not so much. Here
The BBC shows it. The BBC shows the whole thing as well.
Yeah, here in Thailand, they showed it explode like the only other word I could say is like a motherfucker, man. But now, boom, that fucking thing exploded. And if you saw it, you couldn't believe that not everybody died in that plane. So 2 people, 2 crew members who were in the tail survived. And
which broke away.
Yeah.
The tail broke away. So
and that to me, well, I hope they live. They survived it, hope they live. But when it was like when it's meant to be, when it's your time, it's your time. And if it's not your time, it's not your time, And I mean, I'm sure that, if you were playing Russian roulette with 6 bullets in the gun, And then it's your time. Basically, if you pull the trigger. If you eat poison, well, it's not my time, but I'm going to drink this poison. Boom, it is your time. So, it's hard to say but it really has shocked me into the point of, when is my time? When is my time going to come? And of course, there's no answer for that unless, of course, I alienated somebody in the mob, and then I could tell you, it's any minute now, but I haven't done that, and I'm not planning on doing it. But the reality, did that crash move you in any way, shape, or form, or was it only me?
I've saw it on 3 or 4 broadcasts over here, and it was just amazing. I mean, not amazing, but it just the volume and the like you said, Dan, it just shocked me how fast that thing went up. And
how fast
they
was
said
going.
it hit the wall. It slid into that wall. Didn't
right,
it?
Yeah.
but I mean, it's a 9,500-foot runway. The pilot had enough time to yank the engine back up and get off ground. Several people have said so. It's gonna be interesting to see what the black boxes come out of that.
Yes, yeah.
The 2 crew members that survived, I saw one safety expert yesterday say that was solely because they had the 5-point harness on. They had that extra strapping on their seats. Was the only way that they survived it. They had just a regular lap belt, they wouldn't have made it.
Wow.
Well, they're never going to put those straps on every seat. It's for 2 reasons. Number one, it's going to be too much cost, and second of all, could you imagine how hard it is going to be for the flight attendants to get everybody to strap in right now? They can't even get people to put their seatbelts on,
right? So
or move their seat up.
It's just like if you set in the exit rows or bulkhead seats on most planes now, your seat belt is an airbag. It's a miniature airbag.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that it's designed to blow up and inflate and keep you from hitting the bulkhead wall.
There's also too on if you're in business. There's several airlines right now. The Emirates, I know, has it to where if you're in business or in first, where you have a suite, etc., you have a shoulder belt like in a car, that comes across, and you still have your lap belt, so it's like a regular car seat.
Oh yeah, they have that on most business class flights now that I've taken on Korean Air. They have it on Delta. Yeah. They have it on. I haven't flown American in a while, but yeah, they have it on a lot of the airlines now for
on
business class seats.
Not U.S. domestic.
Yeah, right. It's international
Probably
flight.
Not.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably not. But right now they just announced that they're going to try to upgrade the airport here in Hua Hin, that they're going to make it now an international airport. It is international right now. I don't know where they come in from. I think they come in from Burma. But the Hua Hin airport is now set to join the ranks of international airports. Thai British beauty queen, let's see, that's it. Oh, that was another story. Just FYI, a Thai British beauty queen was duped out of 4 million baht the other day. So thought I might share that with you. I love the headlines here in the paper. These are headlines worth reading about. Here's another one. Thailand's planning the F1 race for Bangkok in 2027.
That one, Dan, I will come to attend.
Yeah, the streets of Bangkok, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it, because the streets of Bangkok are the worst streets. Mm-hmm. They are the worst streets you can imagine. They are horrible streets. There are so many road cracks. There are so many bumps in the road. How are they going to be able to pull off a Formula One race in Bangkok? I don't know how they're going to do it.
Do it at Don Mueang. Send all the flights at Don Mueang to the BKK, and they already have a golf course in the middle of that airport. So why not put an F1 track at Don Mueang Airport?
Well, isn't the F1 go through the cities? Don't they drive through the cities? Isn't that the point of the F1?
Sometimes they don't. They don't do that like in England at Silverstone. They don't do that. There's a lot of purposely built tracks for that. There, both Dubai and Doha don't have. Those are all specially built facilities. They're not roads that you can drive on. So
Really?
Then there are others, of course, like Las Vegas and Monaco and many more that you're driving on the streets.
I didn't know that. I always thought that they went through the streets. Oh, there it is. Look, he finally figured it out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kelsey console.
Okay, so what
Brought
I
to
had
you
to
live.
I had to
Very
go
good.
into system settings and I had to tell Zoom it was okay in my security. It was okay to grab my to do this function. That's what I had to do.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go. I knew it wasn't me.
There it is.
What happened to all
Wow.
the fader caps?
That's what I was going to ask.
Who knows? This picture was like a million years ago.
Well,
I
he
just-
likes to make it easy to mix.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Mixed
Very
by
good.
ruler.
So, Jan, the electrical wiring is rather interesting. And I went for a walk around Thailand the other day in the streets, and I was having a look at that, and I was most impressed at the wiring, the street wiring. And when they have excess cable, they just roll it up in a loop and tie it to the other wires.
There is no way that I don't know how they could figure out how when they are wiring buildings where the wires are.
Go.
It's impossible. Impossible. It looks like a clusterfuck of bird nests. It's like you can't make heads and tails of it. I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it here. It's
I was
insane.
impressed. It was
You
impressive. There was loops and there was cables and the post. You almost couldn't see the post for the cables going every direction. And then and some of them were new and there were big loops. And they were just tied up next to and I think television stuff looked like it was in there as well. And
Everything is in there. Everything is in there, Wayne. Everything. It's worse than India in some places. Although India is pretty bad.
It is the worst. Yeah.
So don't they have quality control on rules on when they wire something or not?
No.
They just say, you just go and plug it in.
I don't think there's any rules. I mean, you have to be careful.
There are rules. It's just like, there's a center line on the road, but it's merely a suggestion,
Yes, it is merely a suggestion. I've never been in a place where people you're making a right turn and people want to pass you on the right while you're in the midst of making a right turn. Well, left turn for that matter. Doesn't matter. It's like they believe
right back.
here that two objects can occupy the same space at the same time. No doubt about it in my mind. And of course, that's why there's so many accidents. I don't remember the exact figure, but I believe there was already 500 accidents just during since Christmas. And all sorts of deaths. I mean, so it's insane to drive here. I mean, really, it is. But there's some good things too as well. Like, for example, in the headlines of Asian News now, foreign tourist stuns onlookers by strolling naked through his hotel. That's the headline. Here's another one. Massage parlor visit turns fatal. Foreign tourist and Thai singer die in a massage parlor. And the story is this. They got massages. Evidently, the Thai singer was allergic to the oil they used, and she died from that. And then the other foreigner, he was getting a head and neck massage, and she snapped his neck. So be careful of Thai massage parlors here. Another one of the top headlines that just came out: there are 3,314 7-Eleven stores in Bangkok. Now, that's almost more than pot shops, but I have a feeling there are more pot shops than that, in Bangkok. So there's no shortage of 7-Elevens in Bangkok. All right? Here's another
It's relatively safe.
Here's another story. Russian tourist in underwear battles Thai police in Phuket. Nigerian man arrested on online prostitution scheme. So these are the headlines from Thailand. And let's see. Here's another one. Frenchman loses 6,000 euros to a foreign sex worker in Phuket. So these are the things you got to watch out for.
But in Bangkok, you can buy the little bottles of Red Bull.
Yes, you can.
That's the only place in the world that, well, in Thailand, it's the only place in the world that you can buy the little bottles of Red Bull.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Because Red Bull was invented in Thailand.
I didn't know that either.
Google is your friend, sir.
Well, yes, Google it. And by the way, so is ChatGPT.
Yeah,
and
well,
now
well,
you can
I'm
use
saying-
ChatGPT. Listen to this. You can call an 800 number, 800 ChatGPT, and have a conversation with ChatGPT and ask him questions. 1-800 ChatGPT. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it's exciting. Also, the last thing I'll say about Thailand is that Gordon Ramsay is opening a restaurant here, and the flagship Bread Street Kitchen. It's called Tan Chira. So there you go, and that's the news from here.
There goes the neighborhood.
Yep. Also, speaking of Red Bull, this has nothing to do with. This has nothing. Wayne, what are you showing?
That's 1980. That's 1983, and that's a Jan's mixing console. And
Who's that in the picture?
Me.
My God, look at that hair.
and there's no reverbs there, but I've got a Yamaha 1005. Remember the 1005 Echo? Bruce?
No, I had a Rev 7 for a while. I think that was sort of like a.
Oh, this is before that.
It was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
before the
I don't remember.
R1000 and the Jan's JM5, I think, because I started at about 78 on the thing. But anyway, and there's a DBX 160 in there, and there's an ETI. Did you ever have any ETI crossover graphics?
No,
Remember
but I had a 160, so those are great.
Yeah, and there was a Roland graphic in there. That would have been brand new. That Roland. There's a piece of trivia from.
I had Clark crossovers, and but later on. But my crossovers in my old PA, my club PA, were Yamaha. I don't even remember the model number of them, but they had these big ass dials on the front. They were too funny.
The crossovers. Yeah, I still got two of the F1040s. Which were the four-way ones. They were good crossovers for their day.
You guys are accomplishing something I haven't really experienced before. You're making me feel young. I saw my first concert in 1977.
That's so funny.
I was 11 years old. You guys were already gigging.
Yeah.
What was your concert? What was your first concert?
Beach Boys, the Kinks, Randy Hansen, and a local band here that was kind of owned the club circuit called Junior Cadillac. My mom took me. Summer Sunday.
Where was it?
The Memorial Stadium in Seattle Center.
Oh, big show,
Okay.
big show.
So I got a scary thing for you. In 76, I went to Moline, Iowa to do the grand opening of the first computerized, no humans run it, John Deere Tractor Works plant. Like 10 guys ran this whole plant. And we cleared a space out on the floor to put a business meeting, right, with some big screens and slide projectors behind it and some 35
Moline,
millimeter.
Illinois.
Moline, Illinois, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
did I say Iowa? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that Tractor Works building. So we were highlighting with lights pieces of tractors that were going by on conveyors and stuff like that. But here's the funny part. Why I had a PM 1000. It was a 32 mainframe, 24 inputs, and my speakers were the A7s, and it was the first time I flew anything. And we had a couple of rigging guys that I don't even remember if they were real riggers or not, but we strapped these A7s to a pallet and then used block and falls and raised them up just above people's heads so I could and angled them slightly and strapped them down to the pallets so that I could shoot farther and not be killing the people in the front row. And that was my first hanging rig, baby. 2 of those
There you
per
go.
side on pallets, strapped to the pallets, lifted up with rope, blocking falls.
You couldn't do that today, that's for sure.
You'd be in trouble before you got the thing 2 feet off the ground.
But flying baskets though weren't that much different,
Oh man, the days.
You would,
the days.
by the way, Bruce, you would be off the gig as soon as you came up with that idea.
Oh my God. Yeah,
But hey,
was
I'm more
pretty funny.
interested in the first concert you went to. That's cool. I'd like to know what everybody went to the first concert.
My first concert was it was a 50s band. Jesus is the guy's name and the band afterwards.
Frankie Valli.
Frankie Valli, yes. My girlfriend at the time was a big Frankie Valli fan, and they played at Saratoga Performing Arts Center, and that was where I used to go to concerts all the time. I saw America there. I saw one of my earlier concerts of a real band, was America, and Seals and Croft we went to see a couple times. And
where was this? What city?
Saratoga Performing Arts Center in Saratoga, New York.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
So if any of you guys have toured in that area, you'll know that theater because they're still doing concerts in that theater. And it's an outdoor shed. It's a shed. It is a shed.
Brian, what about you? What was your first concert?
Well, probably the first one I saw was Red Skelton live. But
Red Skelton. Wow.
Yeah.
That
was
must have
probably
been really
great.
Yeah. And I actually remember him duking out the sound engineer by faking the mic going bad right in the middle of the show. And
that's when you knew you wanted to be a sound man, right?
That was before my time on that. Probably Beach Boys was the first one that I really went and saw, first big concert.
Pink Floyd.
Beach Boys are Alabama.
Wow.
And Wayne, what about you? What was your first concert?
I think 1974, I was 14, and I think I went and saw at the Plaza Theatre in Wagga, I went and saw Sherbet and Ted Mulry I think and I think later or early 75 AC/DC came and I wanted to go, but I didn't go. But I think TMG and Sherbet or it might have been Hush at the other. I can't remember which was it because they were all in that same group and I was 14 and 15, so you had to ask if you could go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Parents dropped you off.
I remember concert tickets were $2.50. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the
Well,
other
that's
day.
where you were. I remember I have the ticket stub from a concert that I saw. Wasn't my first concert, but it was $8.25 to see the Grateful Dead at Fillmore East.
Yep, I saw him for $8.50 in Seattle.
Oh my! You went to Fillmore East? What a historic place!
My very first concert that I ever went to see was the Jefferson Airplane at Fillmore East, and that night Gracie Slick was sick. She was sick, and she couldn't perform to her ability, and it was really a shame because at that point White Rabbit was like on all the radio stations. It was like that was the song, and I was 16, maybe 16 when I went to go see Gracie Slick, and it didn't impress me because she was sick. But then the next show I went to was the Grateful Dead, and that changed my life.
I'm sure.
I'm positive it changed my life because I was sitting in I went with a friend and we're sitting in like the 18th row or something like that. And this old guy comes up to us and said, we were right on the aisle, and he says, "Hey, how would you like to change seats with me and my wife?" And he was old. I mean, he was old. And I said to him, "Look, I really appreciate the offer, but in a concert, it's better to sit up close than further back." And he says, "Oh, no, my seats are in the 4th row." Ooh. And I looked at the tickets. I said, "Absolutely. Why would you do that?" He said, "Well, I'm Mickey Hart's grandfather." and
wow.
it's too loud up there for me. So I said, yeah. So me and my friend, we went up to the fourth row, and in the Fillmore East, it circles around. So it's like you're right on the stage. In the fourth row, you're as close to the stage as you could be. And these guys were drinking apple juice. And I was thirsty, and I said, "Hey, can I have a sip of your apple juice?" And he says, "Sure." And I said, "Oh, this is." As I was drinking it, I said, "Oh, this is the unfiltered kind." Yes, it was unfiltered. And then the guys, "Hey, man, that's pure LSD you're drinking." And needless to say, I think I'm still high from that experience. I think. But that was what started me in my life of concert going. I loved it. It was great. Seen so many concerts since then.
It was a great era. All that.
Yeah. You know what my favorite? When I think about my favorite concert that I ever went to, it was Queen. It was Queen at the Los Angeles Forum.
Man, I wished I got to see Queen. Oh man,
They were amazing.
Queen played the Columbus Agora, and I was the house sound man. It was outstanding. They brought in a Sun, SUNN, 24 by 4 by 2 mixing desks. There are only 2 ever made, and they brought one in.
Yeah, but that wasn't why it was so great. I had great seats because I was in the entertainment business at the time, and my friend Bert Stein, who was with Electrosylum Records, had gotten me these seats, and I had backstage passes. And when we got to the seats, there were these 2 really hot babes sitting in our seats. And so I said, "Well, you could just sit on my lap." And they say, "Okay." And me and my friend, and before the end of the concert, I got a blowjob from some girl I never saw before in my life. And that's why that concert really will always stand out in my mind. It was an amazing concert. I am telling you. There's 2 things I remember from that day. One is that blowjob, and number 2 was the fact is that they had a second set that came down where actually there's 3 things. Whereas the second set, it opened up in the middle of the room, and it was an acoustic set. There was an acoustic piano, acoustic guitar, acoustic bass, and they did a set right in the middle of the room in the Forum. And the other thing was the light show. The light show was amazing. They had all these trusses built up, and they were connected, and they were on motors, and they were able to take the lights and tilt them. And these were conventional lights just by the use of the motors. So that show will always stand out in the back of my mind as one of the best shows I ever went to. There you go. Trying to top that, Brian.
First time I saw that was a Michael Jackson Off the Wall. They had these huge arms, and the arms were laying down. And as the band started, they like these arms like climbed up, and they had these big lighting rigs on these arms, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, music has been very, very good to me. The music business has been good to me. I've been in the music business my whole entire life, So my first show that I ever worked, the very first show I ever worked, was at the Ventura Theater in Santa Barbara, California.
Really?
Yep. It was at the Ventura Theater. Actually, it was in Ventura, but the only reason that I had worked that show is because I had a Volkswagen van, and the guy that owns the sound company was a friend of mine, and he needed somebody to carry some of his gear down to the show because it couldn't all fit in his truck.
I think that place is still doing shows.
Yeah. And anyway, so we get down there, and his engineer didn't show up. And so he turns to me and he says, "Hey, you want to mix the show?" It was the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, wow.
And I was so high at the time, I said, "Sure, I'll do that." I was the head of the audiovisual squad in in public school, junior high, and high school. I was on the stage crew. I was always into the backstage aspect of that. And so I said, "What do I got to do?" And he showed me how to mix the console. And I said, he says, "Don't touch this, don't touch this, just touch these things, and I'll take care of. I've got phase linear amplifiers in the back, and I will control the level from back there."
I had phase linear 700s before I bought the BGWs, and I used to blow speakers more times than I would care to admit.
Yeah.
And when I got rid of the phase linear amps and bought BGWs, that stopped. And I used to pound on those BGWs too, but the phase linears didn't pound very well.
They were good sounding amps, but they were never.
If you didn't push them, they sounded great. But boy,
Yes.
if you push them, you'd be popping shit all over the place.
I had resin coming out of the bottom of the speakers, so I had 2 or 3 of those, and when they blow up, they just melt the voice cord.
Yeah, I used to keep a box of like 8 or 10 diaphragms. Do you remember the aluminum ring diaphragms?
Yeah,
in the back of my van, because we'd take a break after a set, and I'd have to climb up on the back of the PA and replace a diaphragm.
So I had a couple of 2205s in the drum fill, and I took them out after the Phase 700 just disintegrated them.
Just
and
ate
the,
it, bro.
and the the glue or whatever, it had ran
oh
down.
my God! So they got hot.
Yeah, they got hot because I didn't have any DC protection on them on the amps, where the Clare Brothers ones had DC protection. So you go 105 volts.
Phase linear was Bob Carver in his infancy.
They're still great. It's great amps, sounded fantastic, but they were not. So after the third time they blew up 2 pairs of 15s, and the recon kits in those days were expensive here in Australia, I said, "I do like you Phase 700s, but you've got to be retired. I just can't afford the."
They looked really nice, though. They were cool looking amps.
Oh yeah, they were good looking amps. Yeah,
they were great looking, man. The BGWs were boring.
Yeah. There was a few of those around. I think Live Music.
I'm sure they're still there today. I mean, the 750 BGs are still. They're old, but they're still there, and they're bulletproof, man.
I'm sure they
bulletproof. Boat anchors and bulletproof.
Anybody in the U.S. tonight on ABC is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction awards that was broadcast months ago. But if you want to hear Robert's mix, it's on right now. So. Very
cool. Well, you could leave here and go there, and then I'll never speak to you again as long as I live. Okay? I mean, all right.
No. What I'm saying, it's on live TV here.
I'm joking with you. I'm joking. I'll speak to you no matter what. I'm that kind of guy. I'm forgiving. I love people. That's it. And my New Year's resolution, as I said, was not to make any New Year's resolutions, but I already broke that one. So there you go. I'm way ahead of myself. But, you want to hear something really interesting, at least to me. I have a program on my, or an app on my Apple called Day One. It's a journaling app, and I've been using it for years and years and years. And last night, before I went to sleep, it gives you reminders of what happened, in your life at this particular day. And because it was New Year's Day, it showed me some of my resolutions that I made 14 years ago and 20 years ago. And believe it or not, the 14 years ago resolution, I could have made the same resolutions today. Number one was be happy.
Number two, find a wife.
Number two is stay healthy. So there you go.
Was drink more apple juice in there anywhere?
No. But I'll tell you, it's an experience you'll never forget. When legitimately, I was tripping for like a week. It was insane, but so much fun. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And by the way, that got me out of active duty. By the way, that story got me out of active duty on a medical discharge. So
Wow.
Grateful Dead saved your life.
Saved my life, that story. Yep, saved my life. Anyway, saved my life. Click the like button. Remember, share the show. This has been great. But before we go, does anybody have any resolution or something that they want to accomplish this year that they'd like to put out so that we can go back to them in 6 months and say, hey, you said you were going to do this. Did you do it?
I don't make resolutions.
I didn't make any this year.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever made one really. Just to be healthy and that's about it. And be happy. Don't worry, be happy. You can't always do that. You can't always do that though, in reality. But
I think that this year I want to sell SoundBroker. I think that this is the year that I'm going to sell SoundBroker. Yep. There you go. You heard it. But I don't really know how to go about doing it because, there are people that trust me and want to work with me, and I want to work with them, and I don't want them to think that, oh, you're selling the business, I'm going to get screwed. What happens when you sell it? What's going to happen to me? But the reality is what I would love to do is get a partner to come in and say, hey, I'll work this business with you, and you could, has anybody watched the movie Silo, the TV show Silo?
No.
Well, what they call their apprentices in Silo are shadows, and what I'd like to do is find a shadow, someone that I could teach this business to, and let them grow this business and take their own ideas though and enter their own ideas to make the business bigger and better.
Do you have a warehouse with gear in it, or do people keep their gear and you sell it for them?
People keep their gear and I sell it for them.
Okay, so you don't have a warehouse with a bunch of gear in
I don't even have an office anymore.
Really? See, people
I only have a virtual office.
You do business because it's about you. Well,
Yeah, and I think
my slogan.
I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way you're going to get that is it's going to have to be a transfer of a couple of years to people get trust of working with somebody else.
Yeah.
It's trust relationship.
You need to bring somebody else in on it. Yeah, you're right.
Same with the sound company. You can't just sell it. You have to transition out, and you have to very slowly hand everybody off to the new ownership, and you got to make it so they don't even notice. The clients, once the clients know, they're gone.
People say to me, how come you can't do 3 shows at the same time? And I says, because people hire me. If I can't do the show, then I have I'm a front of house guy. So I have one other front of house guy that I know really well that I trust, but I could tell you systems engineers and RF guys and systems engineers all day long because that's who I work with, but I don't ever work with A1s because that's me. So, and when somebody calls you for they want you, they don't want somebody else.
Well, there's 2 people that I know that people trust a lot because I'm good friends with them. That's Kenny Newman and David Dansky. Both of those guys are very reliable, and they're not going to steal your client. I know that for sure. Because of how many jobs that they've done for people that they just have done, stood in for them. But that's the hard thing to find, is that somebody that'll do the job for you at your level of quality and not take your gig after it's all over.
Right.
But Dave is getting on in years though too. I mean, there's not too many people older than me, and he's older than I am. And that's the other thing. You need somebody that can take it and run with it for the next handful of years or couple handfuls or whatever.
Well, David has got a new gig working with this band called Hotel California.
Yeah,
it's great. A simple gig for him. And he does it really, really well. And the guy that runs it, George, is a little bit older man himself, and they have gotten a bond, and David is doing an amazing job.
That's so good. Yeah,
and he's great. He's working when he wants to work, but it's something. But Kenny, on the other hand, he's got the Manilow thing, and he's now Manilow, of course, has gotten a contract to work the Westgate, for the rest of his life until he wants to, he's now got an indefinite gig at the Westgate forever.
I wonder if he'll end up selling his house and moving out there because, if he's got a full-time gig forever and ever, that's like almost an every night thing, right?
No, it's weekends.
Oh, it's just weekends?
Oh yeah, just weekends at the Westgate. Yeah. Oh. He drives up on Wednesday and comes home on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I told him, I've offered him that, if you want, you can stay at my house, but the Westgate gives him a room, and he's right
They,
there at the showroom, so
yeah,
he's
they
not going
probably
to
put
do
them
that.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to put him up,
Wow.
And my understanding is Manilow, has a limo, pick him up at his house, drive him to his, to wherever airport is closest to him, gets on the private jet, and it's a
Really?
no-brainer.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Must be
Might be wrong
nice.
about that. But that's my resolution, to get on that private jet, wherever I want to go. Hey, Shecky, bring the jet, that's it,
When I worked for Family Dollars, we had 3 private jets, and those were nice to go out and do different things with. You can get into
Wait a
small
second.
airport group
Family
flights.
Dollar, they had a jet?
We had 3 of them. A
3
5-seater,
jets?
So now we know where all those dollars were going.
a 3-seater, a 10-seater, and an 18-seater.
3-seater.
No, a 5-seater.
Oh, 5-seater. I was going to say that was like an F-35 or something.
Right.
I've only been on a private jet once. I won a contest at LDI, and I had it was for 2 people, and I took my friend Peter at the time, and they picked us up, brought us to the airport. I don't even remember where it was. I think it was Orlando. And we just flew around Orlando. I was able to sit in the cockpit. It was really cool. That was the first time I realized that it looks like a video game when you're sitting in the cockpit. It's just TV screens, and it's not the same as it used to be, where all the millions of knobs and stuff.
So I used to do the Lockheed stockholders meeting, and it was in San Jose a lot of times, but it would move around a little bit. And they would always fly us to the site survey in the meeting. So I would go to Burbank Airport. On the backside of the airport, there's a little private jet sort of hangar kind of thing there. And they had, I think it was probably like probably maybe 10, maybe 8. They were really super comfy chairs. And 3 of us would get on this jet at like 7 in the morning, and they'd fly us to San Jose. And they'd pick us up in a limo and bring us to the convention center, and we had a meeting, and we'd walk around, and we talked about a lot of dumb stuff. And then we got back in the limo and went back to the airport and hopped on this jet and flew back to LA. And it was like, man, I could get used to this. And I did that.
Oh man, yeah.
I did that like 4 years in a row, man. And I was like, once a year I got to fly on this private jet. It was so cool.
Yeah, we had some issues with a couple of stores, and I left Charlotte at 7 o'clock in the morning, flew up to Detroit, worked for an hour and a half at the store in Detroit. I hopped on the jet, flew down to St. Louis, was on the ground for about 2 hours, and was back home before 5 o'clock rush hour.
Isn't that just unbelievable, huh?
What kind of issues could you have at dollar store that you had to fly up on a private jet?
They ran out of change.
I was doing,
something was selling for 99 cents. What the hell? What's going on here?
Well, I was in the construction team at the time, so we were having some construction issues. So
yeah, I could just see. Hey, we got a big challenge. It's a dollar store. There's something selling for $1. Somebody's got to get up there and fix it. What happened? How can it go to $1?
Somebody's bitching. We got to go take care of this.
Yeah.
So Family Dollar, most people didn't realize a slow year when I worked for Family Dollar, and I worked for them for 14 years. A slow year was 500 new stores a year.
Oh my God.
And
they would build their own stores?
We, depending on the year, about 50% were new construction and about 50% were rehabs or tenant improvement. So when I lived out of Salt Lake City and ran that territory out there, I mean, I brought the jet out there one time where it came out for something else, and I stole it while I was out there. But my territory out there was Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, and Nevada. And I was able to do in 4 days what would normally take me 3 weeks to do by driving to all the locations. But next to last year that I worked for them, we went in and calculated that we spent $1 billion just on construction.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, that's just the numbers.
Wow.
Are they still in business?
My understanding, Dollar Tree bought them. It's the reason I no longer work for them. But Dollar Tree,
one of those dollar stores went out of business, didn't they? One of them.
I think Fred's finally closed. Big Lot's closing, but Big Lot got salvaged. But My understanding is Dollar Tree's closing a huge number of Dollar Trees this year. I mean,
Yeah, they have a lot of competition from the 99-cent store.
But I mean, it's just like everything else. There's the margins on there is very low. So when sales drop, then it really hurts the company all the way around. So, but the
well, on a bright note, I think the economy is booming, but credit card debt is at an all-time high. We'll see what happens next week, because next week we'll be here before you know it. And we will be back Wednesday, same time, same place. By the way, we're also streaming to TikTok. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if anybody's watching it on TikTok, but we're streaming to TikTok. So that's pretty cool. And if anybody has something to say, now would be the time to say it. We'll stay in the room. Of course, we always stay in the room before and after the show to talk about things we can't talk about on the air. Remember, everything you heard is an opinion today, so do your own research. And remember to join us, tell your friend, click the like button. Thanks for watching. And anybody have anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Oh, Happy New Year to the others that normally come into the Zoomy room, like David and Ken and
Happy New Year to everybody watching too.
And
yep, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, and we wish you a very successful and prosperous and healthy New Year from all of us to all of you. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next week. So until then, you make it happen. Go out there and make it happen. And we are off